Hello everybody again, it's me Chris at Pro-Am with a Friday 4 o'clock chat. Again this week we haven't got no major things to show you as everything's delayed as usual. UK long weekend here because we're shut Friday and Monday with bank holidays. So our deliveries are delayed, they'll probably come Tuesday next week. So next week hopefully we'll have plenty of content for the next few weeks to go through. So what I'm going to do this week is something that a few of you liked the other week, and a mix of other things. So first of all, what I'm showing you on a couple of little clips here and things is one of my professional boxers, Andy Kay. He's a welterweight, which is 147 pounds, 10 stone 7, 67 kilos, depending on what you're recognising wherever you are. He's 5-0 as a pro. Hopefully, I've just been told 10 minutes ago he'll be back out beginning of July for his next fight. Now, he's not the only one I've got, obviously, but this is just a normal, easy training day for him type of thing. He's not going to do an awful lot. He'll, have a warm up, bit of a skip, some shadow, little defensive work, and then different kinds of pad works. Now, the pad work he's doing will be just basic pads, practicing things we've been doing before, different combinations, etc. Different defensive moves, different footwork. So just to keep him sharp and just to keep him ticking over. He's not in a full camp yet. That will start next week or the week after. Alongside our other boxers, we have a middleweight who's boxing the end of May on a 10 rounder in Germany, so he's well into his camp now, Rafi, so we'll show you clips of him coming up sooner or later. And my heavyweight, he's topping the bill on the 4th or the early July show hopefully as well, so you'll see clips of them all being trained by me. On these little films here, it's me actually filming it, because what I'm doing there, the guy on the pads used to be one of my old boxers. He's obviously well retired now, as you can see by the shape of him. He's not like that, but he's now my assistant trainer. He's learning the trade. I'm mentoring him to take over from me one day. I can't do what I used to do, obviously. I'm getting on in a few years now and I've had a few injuries where it's impossible for me to do 10 rounds on the pads with a grown man. On the mitts, depending on where you are. I've had elbow surgeries, shoulder surgeries and things, and little things with my hands over the years. It's not easy being a coach or a trainer. So he's learning to do the pads exactly the way I've always done them, so it's like a continuous way. I was mentored by my old coach, brilliant amateur coach called John Chisnall, ex-professional boxer, and we just follow on seamlessly. We all have the same sort of style. He taught me to follow on exactly the way he did it. Now I'm passing that on to my boxers. So that's what's going on in these bits and clips of videos here, as you'll see. Sometimes he's got pads, sometimes he's got coach bar gloves, sometimes he's got the body pad thing on as well. So it's just a little bit of a sharpener. Now in the future I'll show you clips of him in full camp, maybe clips of a bit of sparring, clips of the back room, what happens when we're all waiting to go on to the show. Something many of you have probably never seen before. Although you do say on some of the TV shows they'll have a little clip of the boys warming up before they go out. But we'll do a little bit more, we'll go a bit more in depth in it. And this is what I've been trying to do for this channel for a while, but we've been busy with other things. And while we haven't got content for showing you new gloves and new headgear, that's the best time to bring you these things, but we've no control over the dates of when camps are and fights are, so you'll have to bear with me on that one. And obviously we'll put clips of the actual fights in, see how they do as well. So that's the idea for that anyway. Now for the other thing, we've got 2 big shows in the UK this weekend. First of all, on Saturday night, the Matchroom show on the Zone. We've got Dalton Smith against Germain. I thought it was going to be for a European title, but I was a bit confused. I think it's one of these intercontinental titles. Dalton's a massive prospect, unbeaten at super lightweight in this country. He's won the British title, he's won the European title, I think, as well. He's a massive undefeated prospect. He's going to be I think within the next 12 months you'll see creeping into the world level. If you're going to put money on it, I'd put money on it for Dalton to stop the guy. As good as the guy might be, I don't think he's in Dalton's level. That's why they picked him. There's a few other interesting fights on the show. Josh Padley's on it, which is his reward for stepping in at short notice against Shakur Stevenson. So we'll get a nice win on that one for him. So put your money on Josh. And speaking of Josh Warrington's making a comeback on the show as well. So there's obviously more fighters on than that. But they're your 3 main ones that you're going to see on that Saturday night show. Going on to Sunday on Sky TV, Boxer Promotions. I've got one we've all been waiting for, I think, which is Ben Whittaker and Liam Cameron 2. Now everyone's had an opinion on this one, and I'm going to give you my opinion. Now the first one we all saw, I like Ben Whittaker, flashy show-off type boxers. They bring something different to the sport. They sell more tickets because they get a lot of followers who like the flashy show-off part, and then they sell more tickets and the other way where people don't like it and they want to see them get knocked out. I think that's the way people used to be with like Chris Eubank Senior and Nassim Hamed. I like it, it's good for the sport, brings more people in. And then the problem with Ben though, he seemed to get a lot of recognition pretty fast after winning the Olympic silver medal. Now he is a very, very good boxer. He's very elusive for a light heavyweight. Fast hands, and he seems to have a decent punch on him. Now he's shot through the first few journeyman type fighters, and then people were asking to see him to step up. Now normally you'd be stepping up after 10 fights, and then you do another 10 at a better level, and then you're at championship level after 20 fights. That's the way it used to be. Obviously those who've had long amateur careers now, it's a waste of time them going from boxing the world's best at every couple of months, world best amateurs, and then dropping down to boxing journeyman for the next 4 or 5 years, which is not good. So I think people have pushed Ben too fast. When I seen them picked Liam Cameron, I thought, he's not a journeyman. He might have a couple of losses on his record, but he lost his way a little bit. Liam was very similar to Ben, where he was an elite national ABA champion. He was a top amateur. He was a GB squad member. And yeah, he was going through some hard times, as we all know, the thing about his stepdaughter dying in a car crash, and that's going to affect anybody. He went through a bit of a bad thing and he lost a couple of fights. That doesn't mean he's a crap boxer or a journeyman, does it? I think a lot of people put pressure on Whittaker to come out and stop his next opponent, show how tough he was. He didn't come out flashy, did he? He came out trying to stand his ground with a really tough, well-schooled, hard boxer. And I think Liam was breaking Ben down. And like a lot of other people in our game, we all thought Whittaker swallowed here when he pulled him over the top rope. What made things worse, it went to a draw on the scorecards, and I don't think Ben was winning. He weren't losing every round, but Liam was winning that fight. And the judges gave a draw because they couldn't go on. For my mind, there is no reason they couldn't have gone on. There was no injury. First he's saying it's his neck, then his back, then they came out and said it was his ankle and he got wheelchaired out of the arena. But there's never been an x-ray, there's never been a proof of injury, there's never been anything. It's all been brushed under the carpet. And so everyone says he swallowed, he wanted out because he was getting beat, things weren't going his way. It was definitely his worst performance. For me, it's a 50-50 fight, this one. I couldn't pick a winner because I like Liam Cameron. I think he's a tough, solid pro fighter with a good background as an amateur and what he's done. Obviously Ben Whittaker, silver medalist in the Olympics, multinational champion in the amateurs, and just getting on his way with his pro career. He's changed his trainer. I'm not one of us trainers. We get if the superstar gets beat, we're the first person blamed, and but then the only people who don't have a contract with a fighter, we do most of it for nothing, and then the big name coaches get the world title fights. When you train a boxer, I always say it's like an investment. For them first 6-7 fights, that boxer's doing 4-6 rounders. He's getting paid a couple of thousand. The trainer, by law in the UK, or by the rules, boxing board rules, gets 10% off his purse. Now if his purse is 2 or 3 grand, or even if it's 10 grand, you work that out, you're putting 2 to 3 months of your time, probably more than that. If it's just a camp, it's 2 to 3 months of your time. So even if he's getting 10 grand, your 10% is £1,000. So that's your wages for them 2 to 3 months. Most trainers will spend that just going on petrol money to the gym, do you know what I mean, and bits and pieces. The boxer doesn't buy the trainer's equipment, he doesn't pay the trainer's gym fees, he doesn't do anything. That trainer will have 10-15 fights where he's earning less than £1,000 for all that work. You'll get one time where either 2 scenarios, the boxer will not listen and get beat, he gets complacent, so it's the coach's fault, trainer's fault. Done. The second way the boxer will leave a coach is he'll have some pub lawyer, mate, friend who's not understanding the way boxing works. I'll be saying to him, oh, you're brilliant, you're a future world champion, but you need to go to a more respected coach or a more famous coach or something like that. So through peer pressure of people who aren't boxing and don't understand what the original trainer and coach has put into him, he'll go looking for a big name coach. So that poor lad who's spent all them years teaching him, bringing him through, looking after him, he'll get dropped for no reason. And then some half-assed famous coach who has probably got far less experience but a bigger profile will pick up a boxer that's already been taught the trade, learns his trade, moving along nicely, and he'll start getting the big wages for training him, which is a bit, well, it's a bit galling for most of us coaches when it happens. And then you've got the other thing where a lot of these top level amateurs now, they think, or all good pros, they think, I'm going to go to America and get one of these famous trainers. Now, obviously some of those trainers abroad, they are good trainers, they've got plenty of experience, they're big names. But to be honest, there's just as much choice here in the UK, and some are even better. Not all trainers, coaches shout from the rooftops how good they haven't got big egos. And many gyms around this country, professional and amateur, there's some world-class coaches, trainers, who don't get a look in when this happens, which is a bit strange. I always feel sorry for all the other lads when a superstar boxer goes to America to find a top coach. Now, it might upset a few American people here on the thing, but the way I look at it, everyone has this impression that America is the big centre of all in boxing, in the professional game. It's not been that way in the amateurs for 30, 40 years now. If I look at it this way, there's some brilliant world level coaches and trainers in America, and there's some superstar boxers on that set in that country as well. You can't argue with that. When you look at the size of America per head of population compared to the UK or England, England's like less than half a state normally in America, but we tend to produce just as many champions and just as many top trainers. So do you get any benefits by going over to America to find this big posh trainer? I have noticed that a lot of those top lads who've done that, it doesn't last long. On the flip side, we've got one or two decent foreign coaches are settling in the UK now. Buddy McGurk, he's settled here, he's doing alright. Nothing against Buddy, world elite level trainer, you know. But there you have that little bit of an opinion on me. And what we're getting here now is, going back to the story, Ben Whittaker has changed his trainer. Now, he was originally with Sugar Hill. Something happened there. Don't know what that was. And then he went back to his amateur coach. And after the last fight, he's decided to go with Andy Lee. Now, Andy Lee and Sugar Hill have got the Emmanuel Stewart connection anyway, so he probably likes that style of training. But at the end of the day, is it that much different to what he's been doing anyway? Can he adapt? I'll tell you this, I've trained amateurs at all levels as well as professionals at all levels. Juniors and kids are like sponges. You can teach them, you can mould them, you can improve them. Adults are hard to teach. They've got to 110% want to listen and learn and improve. And it's that same old thing, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Where kids are like sponges and they take everything in, adults are harder to teach new things. So there's that way as well. So will that work? We don't know. So now I'm going to give you my opinion on what's going to happen on the fight. I don't know. I think it's a 50-50 fight. A good Liam Cameron is a solid top 10 in Europe, easily. Top 5 in Europe. Ben Whittaker, we're still learning about him. If it goes wrong, will he find a way out the door again? There's that old saying as well. There's that door called quit. Once you know where it is, you always know where it is, and you'll take that option again if things get too tough. Daniel Dubois has been accused of the same thing. He's took that door a couple of times, but we think now he's learnt from that mistake and he's pressing on. Let's hope Ben Whittaker's learnt that mistake and he'll never do something like that again. I like him. I think he's world level potential, but he needs to stick with one trainer and not chop and change. Chopping and changing gets you nowhere. Look at Anthony Joshua. He was flying, got beat, and started chopping and changing trainers from Rob McCracken. And how many has he had since then, and how many wins has he had? For me, AJ should pack it in now. He's done. He's done. He's never going to get another world title. It's a shame, sad to see. He was a class fella to watch, class boxer, but I think he's done. Leave it to the new lads. So there you got my opinion on the shows at the weekend as well. The Matchroom show, A-side, all the way down the line. Boxer show on Sunday. 50-50. I think Liam could just as well spring a win as Ben redeeming himself. So I hope you've liked that one this week. A little bit different. Next week you know what you're getting. And then throughout the next few months you'll see that bit of a change. Sometimes it's going to be about gloves, sometimes it's going to be about the boxes in the gym. So I hope you like this one. Please subscribe. Press that subscribe button. Tell your friends to subscribe. Let's build a channel. Obviously you want to follow me to different parts of the world with me boxers. We need the channel to grow. So thanks for watching and I'll see you next week.